So hello and welcome to today's episode of Coffee and Conversation with your girl Sheila Montague. And let's see what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about police corruption, and not only police corruption do I want to talk about today. I also want to connect that and dive into some election corruption, because see, what's happening is, I always say that everything is connected, right? So we want to just talk about a couple of things real quick. I want to be in and out for you guys, but okay, we're gonna start here. Check this out really quick.
Wow, he about to sue the hell out of Alabama Police Department. This 28-year-old man sues cops for handcuffing him so tightly that he had to have his hand amputated, cut off.
Okay, how is it possible for cops to be handcuffing somebody so tightly that they actually had to have their hand cut off and amputated? That is insane. And the reason why we're going to get into this a little bit today is because we had a couple of huge situations to occur in Newark with police, and we see an uptick in terms of these situations. So we're going to talk about it only to see what we could explore to do to make sure that this does not become a trend, because I see across the nation things are happening. So because this young man was able to get a lawsuit, right, and his hand had to be amputated. That's how bad they had the handcuffs on. But not only that, this happened in Alabama. Now, I want to take a moment to show you something else really fast, right? Because it's going down in Alabama. So basically, I don't know if you guys were
The grand jury sent down 9 findings and recommendations to the city of Hanceville, which include a rampant culture of corruption, abolishing the police department, and the death of a Hanceville dispatcher was the direct result of the Hanceville Police Department's negligence.
These officers find themselves on the opposite end of the laws they were sworn to uphold.
5 officers, including the Hanceville police chief, arrested following an extensive probe into the department. Dispatcher Chris Willingham was found dead in his office in August. His cause of death was the toxic effects of fentanyl and other drugs. Crocker says Willingham had access to the evidence room.
I would just say that nothing was secure about the evidence room, and when Mr. Willingham was discovered, there was evidence in his office.
Crocker went into detail on how people had access to evidence. It was through...
Now, you guys could look back into that later to hear the after of it, but I just like to give you snippets so that it relates to what I'm talking about. You can see that there's substance behind what it is that I'm discussing. Now, basically, they started off with, I think, like a couple of cops in Alabama. Then it went to like 5. It started, I think, with some text maybe. But the point now is that the corruption is so deep that they have had to shut down the entire police department. And I'm hearing that they're thinking about letting everybody go that was arrested, from this police department. I don't think they should be thinking about it at all. I think it should be done. And not only that, I think that we should follow as a nation this entire situation that happened and do the same. If this happened in Alabama, right, that you have multiple people, now that we've seen the level of corruption, to go to jail, or even worse, to lose their lives because of police corruption. And you heard that they mentioned something about a wife. So not only do you have the common theme of police corruption, but you also have nepotism. These things eat at the very fabric of our core when it comes to constitutional rights, equity, just equal rights, social justice. All of these things are mixed together, and why so many people just can't move forward, why so many people can't get ahead, why so many people are just so disgruntled, right? And so does this mean that all police are bad? No. It does not mean that all police are bad. However, we could clearly see where the stigma is continuing, because we're not going to say where it comes from, because this is actually situations that have existed before we were even born, okay, before Facebook or any social media platform probably occurred. So what I'm saying is that while all police are definitely not bad, there are way too many that are, and it has been excruciating, right, in terms of the outcomes of our community. We have like the highest percentage of incarcerated people, and we're like one of the lowest percentage of people. And if the person did something, okay, but too many times it's other extenuating circumstances that lead to so many of us being locked up, being arrested for nonviolent crimes. Even and like I said, if you're somebody who lives in an urban community, you know that you can just get your rights violated at any time. You know that oftentimes they can plant things on us because, yeah, it has happened right in front of me before. So I'm not talking from what I heard. And I have to keep reminding people that I grew up right here in Newark, so I already know what's going on. And this is why I fight these battles, because I know. Because often we have people that are involved in politics, and so the people who don't pay any attention, because people love to say, oh, I'm not involved in the political, but you are involved in political anything and everything. If you want to work, if you want to be happy, if you want to get a paycheck, if you want to buy food, if you want to breathe clean air, if you want to, whatever you want to do, politics is related to it in a way that it actually dictates it. And that's a fact. So so let me show you what I'm talking about. Right now, currently, there is a race going on for assembly, right? These are the leaders. These are the people who make the laws. And oftentimes we have people who come from different places, right? And we love our brothers and sisters from Jamaica and Haiti and the Caribbean, everywhere, right? We love everybody. But many times they come over here filled with a lot of propaganda that has been instilled in them. And this propaganda that they've been indoctrinated with oftentimes dictates what they think about us, right? And so we're not always on the same page with who we are. Even though we're all Black, we have different backgrounds, we have different cultural beliefs, we have a lot of differences that constitute us to simply be different. And that would be okay, right? As long as we have people that are in politics that are defending our best interests. But this is where it becomes very dangerous, because not only don't we have people that are defending our best interests, even if they are Black, they are there for the symbolic reasons of being there. And we don't have our own people, because even though we have people who are talented, I mean, after all, we created civilization, and that's a fact. I'm sorry if that offends anybody. We did. We taught people how to wash up, how to clean themselves, how to, do a lot of things, clearly a lot of inventions, but that's not this live. What I'm saying is that no matter how hard we work, it's still so strenuous to get representation for us. And here's why, right? And I'm going to show you something, but a lot of things that we do, the skills and talent that we have, we take those skills and talent and we want money for it. And if we don't get money for it, we won't use it to pull together with each other for the better good. Because again, we've been indoctrinated into a system, subconsciously, if you will. So now in Newark, I want to just show you this really fast, right? This is a headline that went out today. Now, I received this, and I remember when this picture was taken. I was actually at this location. It was taken on South Orange Avenue. It was in an art gallery. Matter of fact, the only one that we have on South Orange Avenue. And Onyema was there. This is him, that you see in the picture. And he was running for West Ward. And it was a very extravagant, very strong presentation that was put together on that day. I mean, it was nearly textbook. I mean, from the entrance to the food that was served, to the speech that he gave, to the people that spoke before him. So basically what this is saying is, for those of you who live here, he didn't win for West Ward. But so now he's actually running for assembly. And so this is where the waters get murky. This article, if you should look it up to read it, talks about Onyema defeats Tucker in this particular election. So basically, this is the problem. The election didn't happen yet. I got one better for you. Not only didn't the election take place yet, and not that it exactly says the election, but it says he defeats her for this support. Now, and I want to say union. I'm going to go back and check. But the whole thing is mind-boggling to me, because the petitions aren't even scheduled to be submitted yet. I think the deadline is like Monday, or something like that, but they already are running campaigns in terms of party support, in terms of county support. How is that possible? Now, and the reason why this was very interesting to me, I was at the council meeting last evening, and I heard a young lady talking about running for assembly, and she mentioned the fact that the petitions were due on Monday. So I come home to see this article, and I'm just like, okay, how are you guys determining who already won, who's already the candidate, who already has, whether it's Essex County support, Union County support? How? Where is this happening at? So when I talked earlier about us losing rights, pay attention. The government is supposed to be from the bottom up, not the top down, but clearly there's somebody at the top that are making these decisions, and that is problematic because the people aren't in on it, and we are the people who inherit, right, what these people bring to the table. Like right now, there's a debate. I don't even know if it's being debated, but there's a topic of discussion that's going around pertaining to the city council as well as the school board. You have that people have to not only sign up, because you always have to sign up, but you have to sign up, tell them what you want to speak about, and then they make a call to you to hear what it is that you want to talk about at the meeting. Again, these are rights being rolled back, and as long as we're distracted and not paying attention, they're gonna keep rolling those rights back, and back. Okay, so now you have to be scheduled to speak at a meeting, but now they need to call you to ask you what is it that you want to speak about. And so again, when I show you this, right, and again, this live is not to say anything bad about candidate Anyema, but what I am saying is that Anyema is not from here, and I'm not saying that you have to be, but he is a person that is not from here. He is a person who does not share our thoughts and belief systems to the core. I'm sorry, I have spoken to him before. I've also talked to him during the last district leader election, where I find him to have been disingenuous on several things, and nothing personal. And that's why I'm not going to get deep into it, because this is not a personal attack. But it is to say that clearly if they're writing propaganda, I mean news articles, right, that is saying that he defeats Tucker, like those are big words for a caption. And for those of you who don't know who Tucker is, and you all should, but it's absolutely Assemblywoman Cleopatra Tucker from the South Ward of Newark. So, you know, she took the seat after, you know, her husband passed away. And so this is a young man that they seek to put in that seat. But my question is, who is the they? And it should be everyone's question. But because maybe only 5 people in the city allowed, because like I said, I got this out of a group chat, allowed, have this question, somebody somewhere right here in Newark that's going under the radar is able to make these decisions and say, okay, we're going to put this person there, we're going to put that person there. But the Newarkers are the ones that stand to inherit what these people bring to the table. And if he gets elected, is he going to champion for us? He doesn't even speak with us. As a district leader, when he ran for the West Ward, let me say this again, the West Ward has, I want to say 49 districts, but it's not exactly 49 districts, but you get it. It's somewhere close to. How do you not invite the most active district leader in the West Ward, and I believe that I am the most active in the West Ward, if not the city, right, and outside the city, whether it's for education, whether it's for housing, whether it's about policing or whatever. How do you not invite that person? That signaled a red flag to me that whoever's putting you in there don't like me politically. And there's a difference, right? I don't take things personal. So whoever's supporting you to get in there, follow the dots with me. They didn't want you to invite Sheila Montague. And why is that when I just defend the community and the people and the kids, right? So is this somebody who is more interested And again, the massive sellout of Newark. And again, I can't say it enough. There's so many people saying, oh, I don't get in all of that politics stuff. But when you can't afford to stay in an apartment, that apartment is now costing like over $2,600 for one room, you're involved in politics. When you allow a celebrity such as Queen Latifah to build up housing in your community that you can't afford to live in, but she can send a flyer and you go to her party, you're involved in politics, right? And so stop saying that you're not, because that's a level of ignorance, right? And you have to embrace it that, okay, I'm involved in politics, so let me be involved in it, right? Let me be involved in a way that is helpful to other people, like in terms of high rents. All of these things are issues that people are dealing with, that when they have the issue, who do you go to talk to? Because I know for a fact 90% of the city has no access to Mayor Ras Baraka. And if everybody on the city council nods their head like this to everything that's posed, which that's not supposed to happen, but they paint the narrative as, oh, this is just everybody getting along with each other. No, you're not there to get along, right? Debate is healthy as long as it's done respectfully, right? As long as it's not done out of emotions, as long as it's not done with malice and all of that stuff. You just have to bring the voice for your particular ward, right? Those common interest topics for your particular ward, and make sure that the things that you vote on, you vote in a way that it benefits and supports your particular ward that allegedly we vote for to put you in the spot. You're not there to make good with everybody so that you can get invited to the parties. No, and these people are sitting here, right, while we're increasing, in epic numbers, becoming victims to homelessness and predatory developments. We don't have anybody to speak to us in this increased homelessness, while these people are increasing in terms of millionaire status. That's not cool. And so every day, like I said, I will drink my cup of coffee and talk about these things. And I don't see too many people say much, because I don't know if they don't know or they don't care, or maybe other things that are going on that are more important. But at the end of the day, this impacts everybody. When our kids are not being educated in schools, 4 out of 5 kids are not reading and writing on 3rd grade level. That impacts everybody. I don't have any small children. My kids can read or write. So the issues that I'm fighting are for the greater good. But unless we can get enough people, and we don't need everybody, but we need enough people championing these things, they're not going to be championed if you're waiting for representation to do it. Because again, if you eat the king's meat, you got to do the king's bit. And I guess that's a good analogy to use. So if Jewish contributors, if Italian contributors, if whatever contributors other than African-American contributors are the ones who are financing and putting political reps in place, that is where their interests will lie. That is who they will fight for. They will not fight for us to have low-income housing. They will not fight for us to have job placements on all of the development that's coming here to Newark. And the other part about Onyema that I want to add in, he is a part of that LLC group that has property here, right? He has a political corporation of sorts that he worked with the mayor's brother, who is also planning to run for mayor here. So this has turned into such a business, right, that people have forgotten all about the people. So no one is making sure that the students are learning, right? And if you're not learning, if you can't read, you can't write, and there are no trades in the school. Even the kids are not learning how to cook, how to clean, how to do wood shop, mechanic shop. So they don't need electric work. So they don't know how to do anything. So what we end up having is a community of young people getting out of school, can't do anything to take care of themselves. And then we blame each other. Then everybody's mad at each other while we're missing the elephant in the room. Somebody is in Newark that has a lot of control And they have to be black because nobody else would do this. I know it's not the Republicans because that's just not happening in Newark. So there's somebody who is a Democrat, who has a lot of power and control, and who are pulling some heavy duty strings. And those strings are ensuring that almost every single person I talk to every day is dealing with depression, either from them losing a house, or either somebody not being able to get an apartment, or either somebody who just don't have the money to make ends meet, or somebody who is just depressed over a plethora of things that are transpiring here. And my question today, if I'm drinking coffee, who do you think that is? We need to talk about it. You have God unalienable rights, fiduciary law. Absolutely. Oh, I like that for sure. But with our God-given rights, that's why as we're engaged in politics, we're experiencing this level of spiritual warfare. You get it? It's an attack on God. These people don't believe in God. You can't believe in God if you're trying to turn little kids into women. You can't. You can't believe in God if you're treating people bad, blackballing people. Yeah, somebody, oh my gosh, this guy called me the other night and that's why I never just throw police under the bus. This guy called me. I think he was from Illinois. We had a long conversation, but basically he got blackballed for, going against that blue wall of silence. And he told the truth about, I don't know if you guys remember, I posted up a video recently, and the video was about a young man, a black man, getting killed in the back of a police car. And the cop literally held his nose and ended up, unaliving the young man. Well, actually, I put that video up and it went crazy viral. And he caught wind to it and he, contacted me through social media. And we had a long discussion about it. And he lost his job for doing the right thing. And then he was blackballed in a way so that he didn't get another job. So we have to talk about this, and we're going to have to explore who's doing this, because if they're not going to get called to the mat, it looks like I'm seeing that they're just going to keep on hurting people, making people depressed. And anywhere that you see poverty, you're going to see the uptick in crime. You're going to see these sweeps going on, taking a lot of our young black men to jail. And that is not healthy for our society, right? And so how do you rebel against that? And people want you to just, no, just deal with it. Just be silent. Come on, people just can't do that. So again, if you don't call people out to the mat on things, they're going to just keep on doing it. And this is not good for us, because there are wars, right? If you look, just a little bit down the road, there are all kind of wars that could happen. We don't want to be in a war in the United States. And I don't know if you guys are paying attention to international news, but at least 5 different places have us on the radar to attack at any moment. And it's primarily because of our affiliation with Israel. People are not happy with the fact that Netanyahu did a genocide, and they're not happy with that. And America and Israel are like this. So, a snowball rolls downhill, right? And gets bigger and bigger. So that's what we're at. And that's why I'm going to stop today. But yeah, our unalienable rights are important. But if we're not paying attention to the constitutional rights that are being disrespected, they're going to keep trying to roll it back, And I don't like to present issues, right, without talking about money. Many of you may know that I'm running for mayor in the city of Newark. So much like when we needed the CCRB to try to squelch the police brutality that was taking place over 20 years ago, because it took us 20 years to just get a CCRB, but it didn't come with the funding. They had funding for the immigrants, right, the illegal immigrants, millions, trillions even, right? But they didn't have money to fund the CCRB, so it never had subpoena power. And so it was like a paper tiger. We couldn't do anything to keep ourselves safe from potential police brutality. Just like when we voted in Biden the last term, and he was supposed to do a hate crime bill for us. He did it for Asians. He didn't do it for us. So we're without the protections that we want, and we can't be fooled because we have people in seats that are black, but if they're there in symbol only and they can't act or do anything to keep us safe or keep our children safe, right? That's the issue. So what I propose to you is that, again, I'm running for mayor of the city of Newark. Now, without the money, it's like a paper tiger, right? So what happens is, it becomes like an act of civil disobedience. And that's not what I'm running for, but it becomes that when we don't have the money to put behind a candidate. And we in this community have money for what we want to have money for. I don't care if it's hair, lashes, shoes, clothes, food, you name it, we got it. So we have to start to increase our political IQ to make sure that we have people that are going to speak on our behalf, even if it means being unalived. And that's where we are. That's where we are. And as long as we keep putting people in seats that they like a lifestyle or they like being included, you know, they want to be a part of the group so bad, and they just get there and don't say anything on our behalf, that's not helping us with progression. Remember, this is a marathon, not a sprint. And we see the sweep in, I don't know if you're paying attention, but I'm going to say this, and I'm not going to go into detail, but I see nationally a lot of heads of gangs are being brought up on charges. Before that, I noticed that there were a lot of rappers that were being unalived and brought up on charges, right? Gang members, but now I'm seeing the heads being targeted. And like I said, I'm not going to go deep with that, but I don't talk about things I don't know about. I just scratch the surface purposely because I just like to give shovels, and it's up to you to do your own digging. But in saying that, it looks like there's some type of strategy or plan in place. I'm not sure what it is, but until I'm sure, you guys, again, you have the shovel, do the digging. But we really have to dig out the root when it comes to corruption in police stations, because right now what's being talked about a lot in Newark, and I know that the police watch my lives, I know that for sure. A lot of what our communities are discussing is the fact that our police are predominantly Hispanic, right? And that there are a lot of stings getting put out in our communities, whereas cops are jumping out with these plainclothes situations. I don't really know what all that's about, but understand that that is a major topic of conversation here in the city of Newark at this time. And not only that, I think I missed one other thing I wanted to bring to you. Oh, back to the elections. Last but not least, this woman right here, what is her name? Sonia Rogers. I saw that. I don't know her personally. Let me lead with that. I don't know her, so none of this is personal. But she is a person here in the city of Newark who was arrested recently for some negative activity when it came to election. So you see how all of these things kind of go together and match up? And I'm sure that this woman who went to jail for something dealing with elections, I'm sure she's not the only one. Now, I don't know if she's talking or being threatened not to talk. But yeah, this was a couple of weeks ago. She was arrested, and it had something to do with voter fraud. And again, voter fraud is going like crazy right now because people are just becoming millionaires off of just stealing from the people. And then the weirdest, craziest part about this is, I don't care what nobody say. I'm definitely tired of people, not black people and Hispanics, because that's who live predominantly in Newark, not getting education, you know, not having anything, heat, hot water, clean air, what I was going to say, housing, police brutality. Like, we're dealing with the most. And every time I see people come into the council meetings crying, they're ignoring them like next, and defending themselves. It's not about you. It's about the issue. Like, people come to bring up issues for accountability. You guys have an office seat where not only do you get a taxpayer salary, but you're able to hire 5 other people. And then we still don't see you in the community unless you're walking around like you're over us and not the community servants that we voted you in to be. That is how that is. But For some reason, something else is going on here. And like I said, I'm not stupid. I'm just putting out the shovel for other people to start doing the digging, because I know a lot of people watch my lives. Now, a lot of the community may not be looking, because I know that, I'm shadow banned and stuff like that. But a lot of people do check in to look. And so that's important that you are aware. But beyond awareness, it's important that the people who are in charge of pulling these strings and doing these things understand that we are definitely having these conversations en masse in our community about the police brutality, the police corruption, the jumping out in plain clothes. This happened a couple of nights ago, right? We're having discussions about these things happening around the city, and they need to stop. And the next thing is, we're also watching how, throw him back up here again, this young man, right, is working with people to get rich and working his way up the political ladder. And for what? Because again, if we don't have access to him now, what do you think he's going to do once he get in office? We already got enough people in office we don't have access to. And again, this is not no disrespect to him. He never said nothing necessarily wrong to me. It's not about that. It's about, why can't we have the people in our community sit in these seats so that when we do have an issue with a tree, when we do have an issue with something, the relationships are already there so that we can go have these conversations, get something done without a whole lot of negativity and people thinking like you're hating on me. That is the most ignorant thing. So you got elected to office and we come to you with a community concern. You have no solutions. So the only thing that you can come up with is that either there's nothing we can do. Yeah, it's plenty that you could do. Like when I talk about getting a shovel and going digging, you can start digging and get off the golf course, because you didn't grow up on one. Start digging to find out what issues are that we deal with in Newark are in other places and what they're doing for that same issue. And granted, I understand that different variables play a role in different environments. You understand, in different communities. But it's up to you to try. And like I said, even if you're going to pilot ideas, but don't sit here and tell people there's nothing that can be done, because as long as you keep waking up and getting up, there's always something that can be done. But it's up to us as a community to put people in office who either A, know what to do, or B, understand that work and effort needs to be put into the exploration and at least piloting, trying things and procedures to get things going. Because how things are going right now is not cool. I was downtown last night. It's at the end of March. What is it, like the 20th? It's almost April. It's spring, basically. They still got the Christmas tree lights up right in front of City Hall. If that ain't a red flag that people are just not interested in running the city on no level, and it's also a show of the breakdown in the people underneath. Because when you only pick friends and family and you're not really picking people based on what they can do, and then you're not treating people well when you pick them, right? Hey, Janice, you're not picking people well when you pick them. The people don't want to work for you. And it's also a show of the no-show jobs that exist down at City Hall. Yes, we all are aware that people, girlfriends and different things are working down there, and it's just a no-show job. They get paid. So that's how we end up having a Christmas tree in front of City Hall, and it's almost spring, and the Christmas tree lights are still on it. These types of things shouldn't be occurring. And if you don't like it, if you don't want it, you gotta vote for better leadership. You gotta vote for some committed leadership. People who care, people who you're going to have access to, people who you can work with to make some things happen. And at least you know that you tried. Because right now, as a community, we're not trying. And we're really at the point that is fight or flight. Pick your battle. And if you pick to fight, understand that you're going to have to forward some dollars and cash app your candidates to make sure that they can get some things done. And don't believe people when they say, oh, you could be a candidate, you can run, you don't need money. No, you do need money for advertisement. You do need money for banners and things like that, posters, communication, gas to get to different places, even to go to Trenton to talk to people. You know, there's been so many trips that we take to talk to people. And again, people act on, my mother had a phrase, the money talk, BS walk, right? I'm sure we all heard that before. And it's true. If you don't have no money, it's nothing you can do. And the next things that we're going to talk about, because we're going to keep talking about corruption, right? at some point we got to get to, why is it that the polling machines are being taken to the county, but the county clerk is not counting up the votes? We're gonna have to talk about that. That's a big deal. So the people who bring the polls, the criminals who've been hired, are they the ones that we should trust to count the ballots? And if we don't have anybody in there, even like when I ran for mayor, if there's nobody in there because we couldn't afford a lawyer, right? That is what money is for. And like I said, lastly, we got people who feel like they don't want to work unless they're getting paid. Do you think the people who performed and activated in the bus boycott were paid? Nobody had enough money to pay them to move that type of legislation. You understand? So we got to stop being so on money. You can change a campaign by donating $3 or $5. It doesn't have to be anything that significant. You can donate. You can say, you know what? I'm going to give Shola Montague's campaign $3 or $5 a week, or $2 a week. I don't care. You can start low, because little bits of money add up, and ultimately it enables your candidate, whoever it is, to get the word out, to make sure, even for Facebook, like, you need advertising, right? It costs. So, just considering those things. We need the voice. We need people that's going to speak on our behalf. We don't need people going down here cursing everybody out. It's not about that, but it is about understanding fully exactly what the issues is, giving some critical thought on different reasons. Different solutions that we can try, right? Having the back and forth with the community, because these people don't even want to talk to the community at all, and executing some things, because right now, we don't have anybody doing it. And don't take my word for it. For the rest of the day, I'm going to continue as a public service, right? Because I'm running to be a public servant. I'm going to continue sharing with you real-time footage from last evening from several people who spoke so eloquently about the problems that exist in the city of Newark, and why not only should we not vote for Ras Baraka as a mayor to go to governorship, that we should vote against him, but while we should not entertain him when he turns around to come back to say he has unfinished business in the city of Newark, and so he's going to run again. No, we're not entertaining none of that. And honestly, none of those people that's sitting down there should not get one vote. Nobody's sitting on a council board for years. Even last night, I'm going to give some commentary real quick about Crump. Now, this is, the late Mildred Crump, may she rest in peace. Mildred Crump's son. He was put into that position. And when I tell you he was so nasty last night, he went as far as to have the police, to ask the police to eject Jimmy White, who everybody knows as a respected activist here in the city of Newark. And he came down there really solution orientated, talking about some of the issues very eloquently. And because he talked like maybe 10, 20 seconds over the time, he called for the police to have him ejected out of the council meeting. And how dare you? Because first of all, we don't have any women up there. And that's the issue. Why is it that Newark voters make up women voters make up 80% of the vote, but we only have one woman sitting there? And God bless Miss Roundtree, and I love Miss Roundtree to death, so I ain't gonna say nothing bad about her. But why is she the only woman there? And again, I don't know if Miss Roundtree is 60 or 70, no disrespect, I'm not sure. I just know she's older, and I know I'm over 50, so, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. But does Miss Roundtree represent the women constituency, all the women constituency in the city of Newark, 80% of us? No, that's just not the case. So what happens is Miss Crump passed away, President Crump passed away, and her son got put there, and he doesn't even want to let people speak. So when you don't earn those seats in those positions, you could get up there, you could be nasty to people because you don't really want to hear it anyway. You not beat anyway, but you beat for your paycheck. You beat for those other 5 people that are getting paid through taxpayers' dollars. They all need to go. Not one vote. Not one vote. Not one vote. I don't care who you vote for. Vote for somebody to come up there and they can say, oh, well, they don't have any experience. Y'all don't have no experience. There's not a person up there that was able to properly address the videos that I'm going to be sharing with you throughout the day. Again, just to show you evidence in terms of corroborating what it is that I'm saying. And it's no disrespect. This is about objective criticism that not only don't the people know what they're doing, they're nasty, they just don't have the political IQ to execute what needs to be done for the biggest city in the state. And on top of it all, they really don't show that they're interested in doing it. Now, if between now and whenever, if they turn over a new leaf and do something different, listen, I'm all for it. Because like I said, it's not personal. But I'm just giving you my opinion, right? As an over 50-year-old woman who's lived in Newark all her life, who's been an educator for over 25 years, a mother, a homeowner, a taxpayer, and I'm telling you, like, none of these people need to sit on our board. And once they're all gone, you're going to see a new, better Newark. There are young people that are here in the city of Newark that are trying to run. And some people may say, oh, they're not experienced. But the people who are there are not experienced. And they're not concerned. Stop voting for them. Stop voting for name recognition. Stop voting for the people who, because their parents were sitting there. All kids are not just like their parents. All kids, you don't know if he feels the fervor or the passion about running a city. But no, maybe he just needed a paycheck. So, and clearly you don't have passion for people because you wouldn't talk to Jimmy Wright in the way that I witnessed you talk to him last night. So with that being said, guys, thank you for joining me for today's Coffee and Conversation. We'll be talking again tomorrow about organizations in the city who are really spearheading this, this mail-in ballot situation. Yeah, we're going to get to that. We're definitely going to get to that. But thank you guys for joining me again today. And until next time, everybody. Peace.